Imagine standing on the wooden palisades of a Roman fort along the Danube River. The year is 376. You are looking north, into the dark, uncharted forests of Germania. Usually, these woods are quiet. But today, the air is thick with panic. Thousands of Gothic refugees are screaming at the riverbank, begging to cross into Roman territory. They are fleeing a terror they cannot even describe. A nightmare on horseback. The Huns. But now, look closer. The river is calm. The forests are quiet. The Goths are not running. Because on the vast steppes of Central Asia, the horsemen never rode west. They simply vanished from the timeline. What happens to a world where the scourge of God never arrived? To understand how their absence changes everything, we have to look at the massive domino effect the Huns triggered in our history. They were the ultimate disruptors. When the Huns swept out of the east, they did not just attack Rome. They pushed entire civilizations ahead of them like a human tsunami. The Goths, the Vandals, the Alans, all of them were forced to run for their lives, crashing directly into the borders of the Western Roman Empire. It was a crisis of survival. But in this alternate timeline, the steppes are silent. The Huns remain in the east, perhaps focused on China, or perhaps divided by internal tribal wars. Because of this, the great Germanic migrations never happen. The Goths stay in their ancestral lands, farming the fertile plains of modern-day Ukraine and Poland. The Vandals remain in Central Europe. The borders of the Roman Empire, which had held for centuries, remain secure. This brings us to the first major turning point, the Battle of Adrianople. In our world, this battle was a disaster. Trapped by corrupt Roman officials, starving Gothic refugees rebelled, wiping out a massive Roman army and killing the Emperor Valens himself. It was the wound Rome never recovered from. But in this alternate world, that battle never happens. Emperor Valens lives. The Roman legions remain intact, their professional soldiers guarding the frontiers rather than dying in bloody civil wars against desperate refugees. Without this catastrophic loss of manpower, the Western Roman Empire does not enter its death spiral. Picture the streets of Rome in the 5th century. In our history, this was a time of terror, of sackings by Goths and Vandals, of empty treasuries and abandoned cities. But in this timeline, Rome is still the beating heart of the Mediterranean. It is not conquered. Instead, it adapts. The Western Empire, given a century of peace, has the breathing room to reform. It changes its tax systems, rebuilds its cities, and integrates Germanic tribes as trade partners and allies rather than desperate invaders. But here is the twist. A surviving Roman Empire does not mean a peaceful world. It means a completely different kind of conflict. Without the Huns to unite them in fear, the Germanic tribes north of the Danube grow powerful, wealthy, and organized. They do not want to destroy Rome, they want to be Rome. We would see a slow, centuries-long process of cultural merging. A bilingual, Greco-Roman Germanic superstate. Now, think about the map of modern Europe. Almost every country we know today exists because of the Hunnic invasions. Without the Huns, there is no Anglo-Saxon migration to Britain, because the Germanic tribes have no reason to flee across the North Sea. The Celtic Britons remain in control. England as we know it, never exists. In the West, the Franks never cross the Rhine to flee the incoming hordes. The Kingdom of France is never born. Instead, Gaul remains a deeply Romanized province. And what about Spain? The Vandals never march through it to conquer North Africa. Carthage remains the breadbasket of Rome, feeding millions of citizens across the empire. The entire geography of Western civilization is rewritten. But the changes go even deeper, reaching into the realm of faith. In our world, the chaos of Rome's fall allowed the Catholic Church to step into the power vacuum, becoming the ultimate authority in Europe. Without that collapse, the Church remains subordinate to the Roman Emperor. The Pope is not a kingmaker, but a civil servant. The great schism between the East and West might never happen, leaving a unified, massive Christian empire stretching from Spain to the borders of Persia. As the centuries roll on, this intact empire would face new challenges. When the armies of Islam emerge from the Arabian desert in the 7th century, they would not find a fractured, exhausted Europe. They would face a wealthy, fully mobilized Roman superpower. The Crusades might never happen, Or they might happen centuries earlier, fought by professional Roman legions. It is a world of incredible stability, but also potential stagnation. Without the competitive pressure of rival European kingdoms, scientific and social progress might slow to a crawl. The Dark Ages are avoided, but so is the Renaissance. No Spain, no France, no England, just one continuous, ancient civilization holding onto the Mediterranean like a fortress. The Huns were the fire that forged the modern world. By burning down the old Roman order, they forced humanity to build something new. Without them, the ancient world simply never ended. What do you think? Would you prefer to live in a world where Rome never fell, or did the chaos of the Huns pave the way for a better, more diverse future? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to explore more hidden paths of history and mythology, hit that subscribe button and join us for the next journey into the ultimate What IFS.